In this video, I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process of how I film a video, start to finish. I'm talking everything. Hi there friends, welcome back to the channel where we focus on self-improvement, productivity, and making the best possible versions of ourselves. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I can make 2 videos every single week that I'm actually happy with, and the system that I've built to be able to do that. Now, you may be saying, hey, you know what, Austin, I've only been seeing 1 video a week from you. That's because I'm actually leaving for like 9 weeks. So I've been making 2 a week and only posting 1. That way, by the time I get to the point where I leave on my trip, I'll still be able to post once a week for the whole 9 weeks while I'm gone. There are 5 things that go into making a YouTube video. Those 5 things are the system, the script, the videoing, the editing, and the posting. First, let's talk about the system. This is what holds all of this all together. It's all in one place. We're talking things like the script, random video ideas that jump into your head, the schedule of when you're gonna post, and so on. It's extremely important that we keep all of these things in one area, because if your workflow is spread out over multiple platforms, it makes it very difficult to be efficient. I've noticed that whenever I had, like my video ideas over here and like my to shoot list for B-roll over here, having them on 2 separate different things caused a massive break in concentration for me and really did not allow me to get in the flow. And you'll find that when you post a lot of videos, you'll need to figure out how to get consistent flow. For myself, I've built that system within a program or app called Notion. It's free and it's very powerful. In fact, I strongly recommend that you look up some tutorials for beginners before you even begin diving into this, because it'll look extremely overwhelming at first. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into my Notion setup and how I use it. Here's my table of YouTube videos. Everything that comes onto my YouTube channel begins in here. So it starts on the left as an idea. This is just any random idea that comes into my brain. Basically it goes over in here. And then when I actually take that idea and expound on it, it goes into writing in progress and actually take it from an idea to an actual reality. Then whenever the writing in progress is done and the script is finalized, then I move it to script ready, where it sits until I'm ready to film it. And when it's in here, basically that just means I'm just waiting to set up my studio and get going on it. Then I have editing and completed. Now within each one of these cards is all of the video information. So for this video right now, I'm in the editing stages, even though I'm still recording some of it. Here you can see everything that goes into a video. Like right here's the script that I'm reading from right here. So inside of this, you have all these different drop downs that I can expand, and this is all the notes of everything that I've covered so far. Let's say I begin a brand new idea. So I click on it, and then I click on this new video template. It's really great for getting the idea grounded and keeping down all your thoughts. So I'll make a list of titles, what I want the thumbnail to look like. There's some resources here I can use as well. And then this right here, this is really, really cool because it actually makes you flesh out what this video is and why it's actually important, why anyone's gonna actually care about it. And then we actually come to the actual video portion of this, which is where the rubber hits the road. So first of all, there's a hook, which is basically the first 15 seconds, basically saying that I'm gonna come through on what the title and the thumbnail actually looks like. And then I describe that hook. It's usually just a short phrase. Then I have my intro, and then we go into the beginning part of the video where I introduce who I am, what the channel is, and what the video is going to be about. Then we go to the main value, like the meat of the video. And I'll actually show you kind of what that looks like here. So we have the title, thumbnail. So the hook right here is the beginning of this video, which is what I said. 5 things we're going to cover, kind of setting the stage for the video. And then it actually goes into the meat of it all. So right now I'm in the editing stages of this, so I'll pretty much won't touch this yet. I'm gonna do one pass through in Premiere to chop out all the repeats and the dead spaces. But then after I do that, what I always do is I come in here and I make a drop down toggle list here, and I simply title it B-roll I need. And then within this, as I'm going through and editing the video, anytime I see a portion of the video that I could easily shoot B-roll for, I just drop it in here. And then when I'm done editing, half of the video or so, I'll go through this B-roll list and shoot everything and then drop it back in. So again, it keeps it all very organized, all in one spot, and it's all within this video right here. Real quick, I just want to let you know that the template, like the video template that I'm using, is from Ali Abdal. and I'll link it all down in the description so you can actually download that and use this exact same template. Obviously, I've modified it to make it work better for me, but if you do want to use the same one, it is down in the description. Saves you a lot of work, honestly, so you may want to check into that. Let's go ahead and discuss the scripting. Now, this is something that I've had a lot of questions about in the past, and I kind of just had to figure it out on my own. Now, obviously, I use Notion for all of my scripting. It allows me to put everything in there very efficiently and to organize it, keep it very clean and concise. For the script itself, I actually write out the script word for word of how I think I'm going to say it when I'm videoing it. The reason why I write out in first person like this is because while I'm writing this, I'm thinking exactly what it will sound like when it comes through the camera. It's very important for a number of reasons. For one, it keeps me very organized. It prevents rambling, because when you go over your script multiple times, if there's any part of it that is just too long or just dead space, you'll pick up on it like instantly. It's very time consuming to write out the whole script like that. But for example, like when I drop all of this into my editing software, like when I cut out all the dead spaces and like the repeats, usually there's like only around 10 to 12 minutes of video footage. Once you cut out the repeats and the dead space, most of your work is done. The other cool thing that this allows me to do is that because the scripts are so detailed and they're written in first person, like I said, I can actually take them and post them on my website as, you know, a blog, or I could send them out as a newsletter, if with a little bit of editing, of course, to take out some of the video references that I put in there. Let's discuss the filming. Now, I'm not going to talk just a whole lot about how to set up for filming because every place is different. So this is my room slash studio. Anytime I transform it from my room into my studio, it gets absolutely destroyed. So walk in, this is lots of sound foam, things up here to prevent noise, echoing and stuff. A little bit cramped, not gonna lie. So if I am filming, right here is what I'm looking at. Camera right there. Audio is running with Notion on the left half side of the screen, so I have my notes right there. Microphone directly up above right here. iPad in case I need to use anything, if I need to quickly research something or look up anything on Notion. A little bit of aesthetics going on here. I'm not really going to go over like how I made all this happen because it just takes time. You have to do, you know, a few episodes and then you'll figure it out. For this light back here, I have a smart light bulb that I just stuck right behind my guitar. I can turn it on, I can turn it off, I can change up the colors, whatever I want to do with it. For the most part though, I keep it on the same setting, that way there's consistency. For the overhead rig, I usually use this right here. It's very flimsy. It's made just for a mic stand. Kind of got my mic a little bit jerry-rigged, but it works. Basically, I got an adapter for the end there, and I just screw this camera directly onto the end here, and then put some counterweights on the back of it, and then you have a sweet overhead rig. Now, one thing to remember is that if you're doing this, never, ever, ever tear this down until you've reviewed your footage. I can't count how many times I've torn my camera down, I've, you know, picked up my mic, everything. I'll put my lamp back over here where it belongs, and then I go and review my footage, and I see, oh, the camera wasn't focused, or my mic cut out, and now to go back and refilm that, I have to set up all of this again and make it exactly the same. That way no one notices. So I always leave this all set up until I'm finished reviewing the footage and I know whether or not it's okay. Now that all the filming is done, I go ahead and dump everything onto the computer and onto the external hard drives and then wipe the cards. All right, let's go ahead and hop into Adobe Premiere here, and I'll just show you guys a little bit of the process that I use to edit a video like this. But the very first thing I do is match everything up with Pluralize, which is basically a software that takes the camera audio and the mic audio and syncs them up, so I don't have to manually do that. Now, there's a few different things that I've developed that really help speed this process up. The main one is make sure you stay organized. So like I have the sequence here, I'm gonna make this the main sequence. So I'll make one for B-roll, I'll make one for camera walkthrough. That way I can keep all this stuff organized. I've got the walkthrough here, so I can just drop all that in here, like so. The other cool thing is you can make bins. I usually do this to help organize everything if I'm getting a whole bunch of stock or whatever else. Then I usually go ahead and I engineer the audio here. Just a basic preset voice enhancer that I drop on there to make it sound a little bit crisper, a little bit more professional. And while I'm doing this, I have two screens. So while I'm doing this and I'm going through this, I'm making notes of B-roll that I need to go ahead and get because I've got Notion open on the other screen here. So whenever I see something I'm like, ooh, I should get B-roll for that, I'll just have a B-roll tab open. I can write down everything that I need to get. Now, possibly the most important thing that I do besides organization is that I go through here, and as I'm editing and I'm just going through, I always make chapter markers. People do this different ways, but generally the way I do it is, let's say I'm going along and I'm like, oh, okay, here's where I need to add a screen share of Notion. So I'll just right click up here, add flash cue marker. I'll go ahead and click this, and then I'll say, you know, add Notion screen share. I could leave it at that, but I usually take it one step farther and I color coordinate everything. So blue is B-roll that I can shoot personally. White is stock footage, and red is the overhead rig, and then green is just for anything else that I want to make a note about. For this one, obviously this is something that I'm going to shoot, so I'm going to label it blue, and I'll go ahead and leave that there, and this will move along with me as I cut footage. That way at a moment's glance I can look at all of this and know, okay, I have, you know, 4 blue ones and 7 white ones. Like, okay, so right now I'm doing just the interview side, but when I drop in, you know, like my screen shares and stuff, I will color code everything. Color coordinating stuff really helps you be way more organized. You can just look at something and know exactly what's going on. So for example, this is a long lost video that I shot a long time ago. But here you can see like all the different layers that I end up getting. And in this one, I did not color coordinate anything except for my overhead shots. And if I had, it would have been way easier because then you could just look at it and know what's what. But here you look at it, it's all one big blob. Now for the last final bit of posting the video, again, we see the efficiency of Notion because we can keep all of our to-do lists and schedules and everything within that. I've got a checklist at the end of all the scripts that I review whenever I post a video because our brains are horrible at keeping mental checklists. So to prevent that, we just created our own system for it. It's really easy after, you know, hours of work, hours of editing, and, you know, a couple days probably to go through the whole posting process way too quickly. A lot of people will just grind it out until the 95% of it is done and then slack off that last 5%. We don't want to do that though. We want to push through to all the way 100%, give it absolutely everything we've got. So don't do that 95% thing. Finish strong. Now this is usually the point in the video where I ask people to help me further my goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber. I try not to flaunt the work and the hours and everything that goes into it. A lot of people simply don't know this. And so I found that this is a really good way to keep people involved with your content. And they're also way more apt to help you and support you if you're being honest with them and open with your work and what goes into it. And for this, I usually say real quick, just want to let you guys know that a video like this actually takes around 10 to 15 hours to produce. So quite a bit of work and concentration. If you want to help me further along my goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber, simply leaving a like or a comment actually goes a really, really long ways. Now it's important that you do this before the very end of the video, because if people have already gathered the information that you promised to them in the title and in the hook and in the thumbnail, they're pretty much just going to leave. And most people are just going to simply miss that fact. But if you interject that right in between, you know, like the editing and the posting, then people have to stick around. They have to watch it or they have to skip over it. And it's not about shoving it in their face. It's about making sure that they don't just accidentally miss it. The other thing I like to do is end the videos abruptly. Nothing is worse than when someone drags out an ending. Get to the end of your video, have a call to action, and then say your goodbye and be done with it. So with that being said, gentlemen, as always, stay creative and I'll see you in the next video.